Hey guys, welcome to another video on the Inside Spurs channel and happy, let me move my Pepsi bottle. Happy Wednesday morning to us all. Hope everyone's okay. Everyone's all right and looking after themselves. Apologies for the bit of a different setup. And I'm in the process of moving some things. So apologies that it looks a bit different. The lighting maybe isn't as great today. It normally is. So just let me have this one off, all right? We're going to be putting some stuff up here. That's why. In this video, though, we are talking about Bissouma. We're talking about the interest really from other clubs in and around Europe. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about Christian Romero's contract situation and a potential sale. We're going to be talking about Johnny Cardoso. We're going to talk about all sorts. You'll see what I mean when I get into it, all right? I just want to say, though, if you're watching this, you're very welcome to join us for the journey, all right? We're quite close to, I think, like 3,000, like something or other. 3,000, what I'm on. Be 3,700. There you go. But yes, let's jump in and let's talk. Morning, Sonia, Spurs, Yvonne, Lee, Jake. How are we all? Or evening to yourself, Lee. Obviously, not morning to yourself. Let me start with Bissouma flavoured news, though. It comes from Ekram Kanor, who has said Tottenham Hotspur midfielder Yves Bissouma has been linked with the move away from the club in recent months. We all know this. It says that the player is on the radar of the likes of Aston Villa, Crystal Palace, and Everton. Clubs in France are also keen on the player as well. And as a whole, they could test the resolve, or Tottenham's resolve, sorry, with an offer of around 25 to 30 million euros. Now, look, if we're getting, let's say, 30 million euros, I am absolutely flying to the moon and back. I don't think we'll get that. I actually look at it more so the Pierre-Emile Højbjerg deal. It's about 17.5 million euros all in all. I think you get something in and around that, to be honest. I also think, looking at Spurs and their transfer market outgoing dealings, sort of over the last few years, we shouldn't be trying to be holding out to every single penny possible. Sometimes, they should look at it more so like, I think Højbjerg's deal was quite a quick and easy one. They knew teams that wanted him. They sort of knew roughly what they could get. And when they got a deal quite quickly that was half decent, they just said, just move him, wash our hands, and we'll just continue onwards. With this, I think, look, if you're going to get somewhere like 15 million pounds, I think you take it, you run away, and you just wash your hands. Because the way I look at it, if you've got a really busy summer window, right? You've got players that are going to be leaving like Reguilon and Werner. Forster will see. You've got additions into the squad that you need to make. I always look at some things like quick wins. It's like in day-to-day tasks. Like you create a list of things that you need to do. You've got those quick ones. The tasks are going to take you 2 or 3 minutes. I've got to buy that thing on Amazon. I'll just quickly go do that now. It's a quick win, right? Obviously, I'm not saying selling a player on the transfer market is the same as me buying a toy for my nephew on Amazon. But what I'm saying is when you get offered a pretty reasonable deal, don't go, oh, can we squeeze out an extra million out of them? That million is really going to do nothing to your financial fair play as well. But also, you're wasting money on wages. You're going to be wasting things like that. Whereas get the deal done quickly, move them on, because you've got a long checklist this summer. Regardless of if Ange is going to be here or not, you have got a large checklist, right? Where you've got to get rid of some players. You might need to extend some players' contracts. I mean, we're going to be talking about Romero in just a second. You're going to have to be bringing players in. So there's a lot of things that you need to do. I think selling Bissouma is one of probably, I think, the easier ones. I mean, the fact that Everton are interested doesn't shock me. Palace is an interesting one. Obviously, he has Brighton ties. Would he go there? I don't think he would personally. Look, don't get me wrong. If it was Palace or nobody, then yeah, obviously it's a bit different. But obviously, Brighton and Palace have a bit of a rivalry. Would he do it? I'm not sure. Villa, again, I could see him at a Villa, to be fair. Obviously losing Douglas Luiz, I don't think Onana's really hit the way they hoped he would. So I don't know, maybe Villa, but I could definitely see Ligue 1. I could see Bundesliga. I think he'd be fantastic in the Serie A, though. There's something about the Serie A that really screams out to me. I mean, no offense to players like Matteo Guendouzi, but he's playing really good football in the Serie A. Bissouma's better than a Guendouzi. Bissouma's better than a lot of those midfielders in the Serie A. I think he would absolutely kill it in the Serie A. So I could definitely see Italy being interested in him. Obviously, when we think about, you know, Højbjerg, he went off to Ligue 1. He's gone to Marseille. He's gone to one of the big boys out in France. Bissouma's good enough to play for those sort of teams as well. So I don't think he's a bad player. And I've always been really fair on this idea that I don't think he's a bad player. What I have an issue, and I think what you guys have an issue with, is the fact that he's just not consistent enough for what we need. I don't think this season's probably helped them out of the injuries that we've had, suspensions that we've had. I wouldn't shock me to hear that Bissouma's had an injury this season that he was playing through because we had no other midfielders at the time, because one of our other midfielders was playing centre half. But also that I always think of it's the end of a cycle. You know, is it time to move off of players in this situation where he's got 1 year left on his contract? He's in his late 20s. He's not had the best of season. He's probably not had the best 18 months. Sometimes you go, it's just run its course. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's how I felt about Højbjerg. It's how I felt about Emerson. You know, solid players, not what we need. Just cash in and move on. And I still feel the same about those players. You know, I think they're solid players. I just think they were the right players to move off of. And I think you could look at Bissouma, you could look at a Bentancur and say, solid players, and on their day, they're brilliant. But their day does not come around more frequently enough. You know, they'll have a day, one every sort of 8 to 10 games. And sometimes it's just half an hour off the bench where you go, oh, how good was he today? But for the most part, you're saying, God, he really wasn't at the races today. He wasn't good enough today. And I think that's where a lot of our issues as fans are. Okay. Let's hope Lang is ready to get a lot done this summer. We don't want to see things left to the last minute. Absolutely true. Morning, Jazz. Morning, naughty paperclip. Anyway, that's on Bissouma. Let's move on, though, and discuss a little bit of Johnny Cardoso, because Relevo, obviously a Spanish site, have said that Real Betis are preparing for Johnny Cardoso to depart in the summer. Spurs have a €25 million option to buy him and are already looking at possible replacements. Obviously, this was part of the Giovanni Lo Celso deal that happened in the previous summer. I've got an interesting feeling around Cardoso, because obviously every Tuesday on a loan roundup, we always talk about the guys out on loan, and a few of you have sort of said, could you keep us updated on how Johnny Cardoso is doing? Because he may be here next season. So it could, in theory, be like a loan deal, right? So I was like, okay, not a problem. We can do that. I don't mind. And I think there's been a correlation, I think, with better quality defensive performances when he's played and not played. I mean, they won 3-2 last weekend away to Legan, who are in the bottom three. He didn't play. But actually, they played some of the bigger boys recently. They beat Real Madrid 2-1, you know. So they're in good form, Betis. I think they won 5-5, and he's been a part of that sort of trajectory. But is he... I mean, the real issue is actually, and this is where I am going to struggle with transfers between now and the end of the season, is Ange going to be here next year? We don't actually know. Is it going to be someone else? Is it going to be me in charge? If it's me in charge, then obviously I've got some decisions to make, and a few of those players might be quite upset with the fact that I'm going to be hired. But the new manager might want to come in and see what he has. The new manager might love Bentancur. He might love Bissouma, and they stay. He might love Sergio Reguilon and want him to stay for a little while longer. Please don't. But those are the things that have to factor in. I mean, Cardoso, would he suit the next manager? Because as much as we have this option to buy, he's in a position of what we need. If he doesn't suit what the new manager wants from a midfielder, we won't buy him. And that, I guess that's the other issue. As much as we see it and go, well, we have an option to buy, it's somewhat cheap, and he's in a position that we need. We look at, as fans, go tick, 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 right? We go, God, that's in you come, lad. And maybe he suits Angeball, right? Maybe he suits Angeball to the absolute T. But if you bring in like a Thomas Frank, where it's a bit more pragmatic, yeah, it's not as much about possession and attacking football. I know he has his moments. I'm not saying he doesn't, but, you know, it's not like Angeball, right? He might not suit Thomas Frank, and therefore you won't be going for him. So that's the issue that I'm having. I mean, Betis in their mind will think, well, no, Ange will be there next season, and we'll cash in and we'll get some money out of this. But I also think they're looking at it and going, but if it's not going to be Spurs, someone else will come around for him, and therefore Spurs would make their money back on the deal. You know, I, I get all those things. You know, so I think that's why I struggle with the Cardoso chat as a whole. I mean, look, this season, Cardoso. Let's have a quick look at his transfer market stats. I mean, he's 23, be 24 pretty much at the start of next season. He's played 33 times this season, 2 goals and assist. So he's had a really good season for Betis. Just want to have a look at his average rating, which, by the way, I don't believe too much into average ratings because apparently the best player for Spurs this season has been Heung-Min Son, and the worst player this season has been Archie Gray. So that's why we don't look at stats like that too much. But he's been playing at a 6.83 in La Liga. So he's been playing above average, which I think is 6 in terms of football ratings. I think is a 6. I mean, 7.63 only a few games ago away to Mallorca, 7.21 in a draw against Betis. He was an 8.09 against Real Madrid, but he did score in that game, which probably helps. He was at 7.71 at home to Real Sociedad a couple of games after that. He does have quite a few sort of 6.1s. So every time he sort of has a good game or 2 good games, he normally has a couple of games where he drops quite significantly, which that's not great news. Consistency. So he had these average ratings for the last. So as I go down, this is so from the 22nd of December until the 9th of March. 6.58, 6.12, 6.15, 7.63, 7.21, 6.1, 7.71, 6.61, 8.09, which is obviously Real Madrid, and then 7.07 was his last game at home to Las Palmas. So consistency, I guess, probably hasn't been his ally. I guess you might want to take that into account when we talk about we have an issue, you know, surrounding, hey, Bissouma and Bentancur maybe don't have the consistency that they want. You know what I mean? Morning, Eltel Cockerel. How are we? How can we get new players in if we don't know who manager will be? Well, that's the other thing. If we don't know who the new manager is going to be, let's play a hypothetical game that Ange isn't here next year. Okay, because already they would have been planning right after the January transfer market. They'd have been planning for next season. Any competent side does that, regardless of the manager situation, right? Even if it's like we're going to be moving on for this manager, but let's draw up a list because they've got this data system that they use. Let's draw up a list of players that are really ticking the boxes on the data system, and then we can present it to the next manager. If it's not Ange, the new manager has to be in so quickly after that season ends. It's ridiculous. I don't want to leave it 3 weeks and I'll still not be in manager because that means we're falling weeks behind other teams. And this is the thing. Even though the season finishes, the transfer market doesn't open for a while. You're still speaking, you're still talking, you're still gauging markets, you're still speaking to agents. You not having a manager for 3 weeks, you fall 3 weeks behind other teams. And sometimes some of the options that have really appeared on the top of your list have already gone to other teams. And you're now behind the 8 ball and you're setting yourself up for a worse year. With Ange being here, obviously that isn't a thing. And you'd have been planning a weeks in advance. You'll be right at it. As soon as the season ends, it's like, right, the manager knows who he doesn't want. So he might not want Bissouma. He might not want, you know, Bentancur. He might not want Apollo, for example. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just hypotheticals. Then they can be at the sales market. They can be really like, right, let's get this guy moved on. Tell the agent we're moving him on. Get out there and be speaking to other teams. You know, if with a new manager, you set yourself time back. So that's why if you are moving on from Ange, it's like, right, season's over. We're moving on from Ange, literally the same day sort of thing. We're going to get the new manager within the week. There's no international football this summer, so there's no reason that we can't be getting transfers done early, as well as a new manager in early. Obviously, if you keep Ange, because maybe you win the Europa League, you never know. The amount of people that tell me, "Well, we're not going to win it," it's like, "Well, is that a fact?" And they go, "Well, yeah, it is a fact." And I go, "Okay, well, it's not a fact, is it? Are we still in the Europa League? Yes. If you are to win it, you have to be in it, don't you? Yes. Are we still in it? Yes. Okay, so we have a chance of winning it. So shut up, you misery guts. All right. If he wins it, maybe he stays next season. Okay. I like again, like I said, I am between the ange in and ange out. I'm in the middle somewhere. To me, I'm just trying to support my club. I want to win the Europa League, regardless of the manager. Okay. Conte's 20% possession football, winning Europa League, I'd have been happy with. I would have supported. Well, happy is probably not the right word. I would have supported it, and I would have been thrilled that we won the trophy. The football was crap, but I would have been thrilled we won the trophy, right? That's why Mourinho. I mean, Mourinho had a lot of detractors, but he got us to a cup final. He did better in the cups than Conte did, and we didn't give him the chance to win it because obviously, if he had won it, his cost of sack would have just rocketed through the roof. The reason Levy got rid of him is because he wanted to save money. That's really the reason, because he realised cup final, Mourinho. That is one of the greatest managers in the world. A cup final, and Mourinho is your manager. He's won all 3 European trophies. No other manager can say that. He's won trebles. Not many managers can say that. So that's what I'm saying. So if Ange, let's say, wins the Europa League, he'll be here. Well, they'll probably say that he'll probably have the power to walk away if he'd like to. But the club won't force him, because the club will go, look at Twitter. They all said they'd finish 17th and win the Europa League. Well, we finished 12th and won the Europa League. It's better than what they would have settled for. So when is Vuskovic coming? In the summer. Good for this. Time to go. Just too inconsistent. Hate to see him go, but I think Romero's gone. I'm coming to him in just a second. Just a second. If I was Romero, I wouldn't sign new deals. So I suppose Spurs will probably sell this summer. Surely this will help him drop a line of managers that fit these players and player style. You would think so, but I don't have any trust in that personally. Ange isn't the problem. Why are the fans deviated from Levy out? Because that requires time. And Spurs fans don't think about having time. It's so interesting. The people that are so pro Levy out, I listened to, and I was sort of following what they were doing, and I was quite interested with their whole situation. To only then they quieten down on that. They'll still every now and then say how much they dislike Daniel Levy, right? But that's just to keep face. Sack a manager, and then at the same point they do that, right? And then they go, yeah, but in 18 months can be the exact same thing, and it's like, so what's the point? If it's going to be the exact same thing in 18 months, what's the point of sacking the manager? Oh, we'll be 9th in the league, will we? Oh, great. We still won't win anything. Oh, great. Well done. I'm so happy to be a few places higher in the league. Woo! That's still not even in the Conference League spaces. So if you the logic that Twitter has is like next to naught. That's why I'm never on it. I'm just never on it. It's I go on there, I look at what I need to look at, and I just get off now. I just can't be asked with the miserable agendas on Twitter. They're a very small minority of the fan base. They aren't the fan base. That's the way I look at it. I learn more from 5 minutes on YouTube than I would learn in a year from Twitter and some of those people on there. We know Ange, the problem results due to injuries have hampered the season. I think it's a bit of both. I think Ange at times probably hasn't helped himself. I don't think the medical team have helped themselves. I don't think Daniel Levy's helped us enough. I don't think some of these players have probably helped themselves enough. So I think everyone is at fault for this season. Everyone. If Ange beats Chelsea, a lot of fans will love Ange. It's just how fans are. Oh, we're reactive. I said on Spurs, we're a roller coaster. We win a game, Ange is the best. We lose a game, get Ange out. Win a game, Ange is the best. We lose a game, Ange is out. That's what it's always about. It's always like that. Trust me, if I said Pochettino didn't win a game from home in the Premier League for over a year, are you telling me that Twitter wouldn't be so toxic if that happened again? It'd be awful. They'd call for him to be sacked after 5 games. That's Pochettino. People were asking Conte to get out of the club when we were 4th. You're not going to make everyone happy. That's why I don't listen to Twitter and their views anymore. If Josh is sold in the summer, I'll lose my SH1 team. Well, again, if a new manager comes in, don't expect sales to happen there and then because the new manager's probably going to want to see what he has. That's the other thing. Ange is probably looking at the squad right now and looking at players and going, well, he's not going to be here next year. He won't be here next year. Because obviously, as a manager in his head, he's probably thinking about next year as well. He'll be thinking about the right now, but he'll think about next year. You get a new manager, the new manager's going to go, all right, well, I need to see what I have. So give me 3 or 4 weeks. Oh, well, the market's been open for, I mean, but bear in mind, the time they come back to training, the new manager should have been in for weeks. He's then going to need a few more weeks. It's going to be 6 to 8 weeks before we start moving off of players. That's 2 months of a summer that you're losing there and then. And that's another issue, you know? That's why I think when people go, I want Ange gone now, I understand their thinking because they're also thinking ahead of the summer. But it won't change anything this season because the new manager's not going to have time to bring in the players that he needs and coaches that he needs. You'll be, imagine a massive crack in this wall behind me. You'll be sticking a plaster over it. Evening Dragon, how are you, my friend? So look, there's that. Moving on to Romero. So Gimme Sport have said that Tottenham will offload Cristiano Romero this summer if he does not sign a new contract by the start of the transfer window. Real Madrid been linked with the defender. Interesting that they're willing to be really efficient with a player that thinks that might leave, right? It's really, this is how you know the club would be mucked up if this is true. They'll quickly move off of Cristiano Romero, even though he's got 2 years left on his contract. The year before the last year, right? They'll quickly move off of him, but they hold on to Sergio Reguilon. But Andy, no one wanted to buy Sergio Reguilon. Did you try to buy him out? You did it with Tanguy and Ndombele, who earns double what Reguilon earn in a year per week. Because I tell you what, if Reguilon was free, clubs would happily go for him. I think we could get 15, 20 million out of Sergio Reguilon. Look how good of an end of the season that he had with Brentford. And it's like, his 2 clubs that he played for last season, neither of them wanted him. One of which didn't have a fit left back after they got rid of him and don't even have a fit left back now. They loaned one of the left backs out to PSV. Luke Shaw has played as much football in the last few months for Man United as I have. So if he can't get into a squad there when they have no left backs, I think that's quite telling. I mean, the amount he twerks for Man United as well was so boring. It was like, oh, mate, just get out. At Brentford, Rico Henry was big long-term injury. I don't even think he was back for the start of the season. They still didn't want him back on loan. That's telling. I think Sergio Reguilon thinks he's this, and actually, you can't even see he's this. So he should have been gone in the summer. He should not have been here at the start of the season. Hell, he should not have been here in January. Why he's still here, and I don't care who you want to put the blame on. If you want to put it on Ange, if you want to put it on Levy, Lang, Paratici, I don't care. Someone has to hold, or if not all of them have to hold blame on the inept reasons why he was still at the club. Desir Doggy would have been fitter for longer. He'd have been probably getting away from injuries because we had another left back. There's, the fact is we still only have one true left back because now Ben Davies plays a bit of centre half. They've only got one true left back. Jed Spence is a right back, by the way. I don't know if you realised. He's not a left back. He's a right back who's had to play left back this season. We still need to get a left back in. We needed a left back. What? Not the January. It's been the January before we needed a left back. It's been a year and a half. We didn't bring one in. That's next. That's appalling. Across the board, everyone involved, it's appalling. They all hold blame for that. I obviously, Johan Lang's 1st January, benefit the doubt because he'd only just arrived about a month or 2 before that. He needs time to build up and do things. I get that. The summer wasn't good enough from him. He had time in the summer. That was like the first summer that he's judged on. January was a failure as well. I mean, we were sitting there twerking for Axel Disasi. It's like, is there no other centre-backs in the world of football that we can try and get, but we're going to keep going to the altar of Axel Disasi to get rejected each time? Didn't want to come to Spurs. But yet we would try. We were there it was like a phone call every hour. Do you want to come? No? Okay. It's 1 o'clock. Do you want to come? No. Okay. It's 2 o'clock. Do you want to come? No. Okay. It's like, surely there's another centre back. Well, we're putting a £70 million bid for Mark Guay. Nobody in world football expected that, including Mark Guay and his agent. So what happened there? You know, we should offer Johnson back to Forest in play exchange for Milenkovic or Gibbs White. Milenkovic isn't the right player for us, unfortunately, mate. He isn't the right player for us. Gibbs White, I have been pleasantly surprised by how good Gibbs White's been this season. Obviously, we were linked to him in the summer. So many fans were like, no, he's not good enough. Don't rate him. I sort of thought we'd got Matters in that midfield, in that position, got Kulu even. And actually, he's turned out to have probably as good a season as Kulusevski, maybe even Maddison, you know. If you look at Juve, they are going to sack Motta after one season. Sometimes changing manager is not the answer, especially getting a different manager from a low club, different expectations and pressures. I mean, the people that want Iriola and Frank, it's like, but you have an issue that Ange has come from lower league clubs or other leagues. Somewhat in the same realm. Obviously, I just like, again, I think we're this. Some Spurs fans think this. And because they think this, they think they're a better fan than you. They'll tell you they're a better fan than you because they demand success. It's like, where we are, real world, absolute 50 miles of nonsense, you. Well, we've got this stadium. We turn over the 8th most revenue in the world. We should be winning the quadruple every season. It's like, what are you smoking? Now, there's too many Spurs fans like that, and I think Twitter's full of them. That's why I try and ignore those ones. YouTube, ironically, has way more sane people, which is quite nice. And I thought YouTube would actually be really toxic. It's not. YouTube is fantastic. Makes me sound like, what is it? I'm not an ange sexual, so that means I'm a YouTube sexual, is it? Or I don't know. I don't know what the term would be, but some reason, if someone disagrees with me, it's well, because I disagree with you, that means you're an Ange sexual. You love Ange. It's like, I don't know when I've ever said that I'm Ange in, other than earlier on this season. Actually, if you listen to me the last week, I've said I'm a tweener. Not Ange out, and I'm not Ange in. I'm a tweener. I'm now sitting there going, I want to see some results. And the Europa League is massive now. And I've said, if he wins the Europa League, compare us over the last 20 years, how many of those managers that have won a trophy? Let alone a European trophy. Look at the last time we won a European trophy. That's Champions League football. What's the aim of Tottenham Hotspur every single season? To be in the Champions League. Well, we're in it. He's won a trophy to have us in it. I mean, you think, right, let's say Aston Villa finish 6th. They get Europa League football. Andy, they finished 8 places ahead of you. Okay. They've got Europa League football. Yeah. Fair play to them. We've got Champions League football. Who's had the better season? That's what we have to get in the mindset of. So people that do want Ange out, the amount of people that want Ange out and us to lose in the Europa League is actually quite alarming. I don't believe they're true Spurs fans. People that want us to lose in the Europa League just so Ange leaves is appalling. Absolutely appalling. That is very much shoot me in the foot, right? So I can get it cut off. How about you just don't get shot in the foot and just keep the foot? It's pretty nice having that foot, is it not? Yeah, no, I want to get rid of the toes though. It's like, what? People, yeah, bonkers. Fabio's only problem is that he's not good at selling players. Well, this is the thing that I sort of contacted Juventus fans and I said, Fabio Paratici and Spurs, what is the situation? And they go, bringing in players, immense, works really hard, across the board. He's going to really stock out the club. Okay. What about moving on from players? He's like, he's awful. He's absolutely awful. But he struggles moving players on. What's the situation that Spurs have had the issues with? We can get players in. It's moving players on that we've had no luck with. He has been a problem with it. You have to label him within that realm of other people that have had power, that he has been at fault for that. I don't get why we didn't just pay off Reguilon. If we're not going to trust him, then we should cut loose. I mean, as it is, we have to pay his wages, so may as well give him a chance to find a club. My thing with that is, right, It's not just we're paying his wages and he's still here. It's the squad spot that I want. I want that squad spot. That's why when I talk about in the summer, you move. Let's say so. Werner leaves, Reguilon leaves, and let's say Forster leaves. Right, it's just those three players before. Like, if you want to move on from a Davies, a Bissouma, or a Bentancur, or whoever else that you can think of. Moving on from those three players alone, right? That's three squad spots that gets freed up to bring in someone who's actually going to help the squad that season, right? For me, that's massive. Absolutely massive. So that's why I'm like, we should have had a player. He should be gone. There should be another left back in that squad. We'd be a hell of a lot better for it, you know? You're opening a bus. Anyone wants us to lose is not a true Spurs fan. Hey, Baz, mate, how are you? Losing is never an option going into a game. Ange got 6 months of calm before hysteria started. As soon as things got tough, fans started imploding. 14 months of snowballing hysteria. This vision gets Spurs to current situation. I don't even think Ange got 6 months, mate. I saw stuff about Ange in like October time, November time, actually. I saw people having issues with Ange actually when we were on those first 10 games last season. I saw fans having issues with him already. And right now, those same fans are going, ha, I told you so. It's like, oh, that's not a true supporter. That's I want to be proved right. So that means I get more Twitter followers and get more money off Elon Musk. And if I set up a YouTube channel, I'll get more money out of that. Benefiting from issues is really what football has become. I've said to you all along, I've got X amount of subscribers. I could have double, triple, quadruple that if I was on TikTok, twerking about Spurs every day. If I was posting 33 shorts a day, if I was on Twitter, just barraging of tweets every single day, I would have revenue coming out of my ears. But then I'm benefiting from the issues at Spurs. And I like I said to you, if we win a game, I'm like, hey, subscribe, welcome, welcome for the journey. If we don't win, I don't say it. I'm not asking to benefit from the club's issues. I see it all the time. And it's like, there's a reason why I don't live on social media when it comes to Spurs, because there's too many people that are in it for themselves and not in it for the club. And I get at the end of the day, this is some people's jobs. But at the end of the day, they also are some of them are really just trying to sell out themselves to benefit. That's what football content creation is about now. What is the most ridiculous thing that I can say that is going to get reposted thousands of times? I'm going to get more and more followers, more and more subscribers, and make more and more money. Rodri's not a good midfielder. It's like, that's obviously not true. Well, I think it is. Behind closed doors, it's not true. Rodri's the best midfielder in the world. It's like, how are you selling yourself out for that? You see it at Spurs all the time. The amount of people that go, I saw this. Ange has improved no player in that squad. It's like, right, okay, you're not a fan of Ange. Get it. Not a problem. Not a problem. He somewhat maybe even deserves that you're not a fan of him. But to say that no player in that squad has improved under Ange shows that that's more of an agenda than an actual statement that you can come in and have a conversation about. And that's more of a fact than what you would have said. You can tell me, I can tell you right here and now, Lucas Bergval's not improved from the start of the season to now. Because I'm pretty sure he looks pretty damn good at the moment. I think he's improved Kulusevski massively. Massively improved Kulusevski. I think he's improved Jed Spence. And people go, he never had a chance on other managers. It's like, but that's the point. He gave him a chance, therefore he's improved. I think Vicario's improved. I think Mickey and Romero both improved. So, you know what I mean? It's like I said, if you're not an Ange in kind of person, not a problem. If you're Ange out, not a problem. But if you're going to say something, think about what you say before you say it. And if you're going to say it, be prepared for someone to actually say, can I call you out on that? Because I think you might be wrong. And then normally what it is, right, I'm going to respond with emotion and attack you back. Okay, well then this is evidently not an argument that you've actually had a serious thought about. And I will be honest, I think a lot of those Spurs fans are just as much of a problem in this club than most things. Not saying everything, just most things. Because what it is they can infest their emotional or over emotional views, and they can, if they can get one extra person per day to think like them in the fan base, that could spread to someone else. And before you know it, instead of one person thinking that, there's 50 people thinking that, and they're all tweeting away, and it just grows and grows and grows. And there's what the issue is with social media. Fans need to cut out the outside noise and focus on Spurs winning the cup, and then talk about the manager. I've already said I'm thinking about the Europa League and the rest of this season. Until that's all out of the way, I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm bringing you transfer news because it's out there and I want to talk about it. But I don't see any of this transfer news being legitimately true right this second. Because at the end of the day, if Ange gets moved, if Ange leaves the club in the summer, a new manager is going to come in. They want to see what they have and see who they need to sell, and in turn, who they need to bring in. That's going to take months to get into a place where the manager's happy-ish. He won't get everything he wants in one summer, obviously. That's why. I hope to be discharged from hospital tomorrow. Turns out Amara's stroke probably caused by a game on Sunday. Sean, I'm glad you're okay. And I hope you are out of hospital tomorrow, my friends. Hope you are on the mend. It's like, I don't understand why supporters wanted us to lose versus City last year. For me, Spurs is always first. I don't want Arsenal successful, but Spurs comes first every time. For me, it's like, yeah, that game as a whole, I very much was like, I understand why people don't want Arsenal to win. But we also had wanting Spurs to actively lose was a problem. I agree. And then these fans will cover themselves by saying, I love to be proven wrong because I want to win. Yeah, well, they don't. They don't want to be proven wrong. They want to say, I'm proved right. So fans turn to them and go, this guy's always right. I must listen to him. And it's like, please don't listen to that person. They don't have the best interests of the club at heart. They're the best interests of themselves. Okay. Like, I don't get it personally. I don't get it. I hate losing in general. Even if I was playing as Arsenal on FIFA, I want to win. I'd never pick Arsenal on FIFA. I used to pick Malaga back in the day. I used to love Malaga, Isco and Santa Cruz and Dimichelis and those boys. They were the team to be, I just don't understand how you can like sport and even think about wanting to lose. Yeah, I mean, it's like in the NBA, right? So the NBA is 1 to 6 in the playoffs, and then 7 to 10 is a play-in. I get, right? You're like, right, I'm in the top 6, great. And then you sort of adjust yourself to get yourself a better playoff tree. So maybe finishing second's actually worse than finishing third because the team who was injured earlier in the season have made their way back. This isn't that. This isn't a tournament playoff tree. You get drawn against teams. It's about winning games. Basketball, you can sack off a game here and there. It's 82 games in the regular season. We don't have that. I look at it more like the NFL. NFL's got 17 game weeks, right? Or it's 18 now, whatever it is. I don't care, right? 17 playable game weeks. It's all about winning, 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 winning. So that's how I look at it personally. Ange will be picked up by a buying, attacking, and ambitious club in the Premier League, either Manchester club. How the manager has to suit a style. Remember, Levy has put a freeze on season tickets next season. It's because Gibbo, had he raised the season tickets, the protests would grow in size. He's not an idiot. He already makes way too much money from season ticket pricing. So he's like, what's an extra million or two per year? When actually freezing it would make some fans who really hate me come off the ledge just a little bit. They won't step all the way back, but they'll take a little small step back. And they'll go, well, at least he froze it. And it's like, yeah, he knows what he's doing. He's not an idiot. All right. There's a reason the guy's a multi-millionaire. Ange could take over from Pep at Man City. I thought it'd always be. I thought it would always be Enrique that went to City, but I think he is PSG locked in for a while now. Could be Xabi Alonso. Xabi Alonso to Man City, maybe. I know, but that puts the importance of Europe money. Well, look, Spurs being in Europe is more important for Levy than anything. He'll take the Conference League if he can't get anything else happily, because he's going to get 4 games guaranteed in the group phase where he can make like 5 million a game, makes 20 million on that, right? And then turns out, oh, we go through. Cool. Let's say we get to the semis and we get an extra, let's say 3 home games, an extra, let's say 15 million, plus on top of the fact that you can charge money on sponsorships, TV revenue, all that stuff. And before you know it, that's why all the clubs want to be in Europe. There's so much money to make in there. And the better the European competition that you're in, the more you charge on sponsorships. The worse that you're in, sponsors are going to give you less. And if you're not in Europe at all, they drop all of their fees because they go, well, you're not in as many competitions. There's not as many eyes, especially like eyes of let's say you're playing Ajax. Well, there's going to be a lot of Dutch eyes watching Ajax. Well, we don't have them anymore because you're not in there. You're not playing Rennes. And that means I'm going to get no eyes from Ligue 1 on Spurs. So why would I give you as much money? Then they lower the money, they lower the revenue. Then that will get used against us in terms of financial fair play and PSR. And obviously Daniel Levy loves to go, got to be wary about that. And it's like, are we close to the mark, Daniel? And he's like, oh, hundreds of millions of pounds away. And you're like, oh, cool, so we can spend some money. And he's like, no, I'm just really scared about it. It's like, okay, don't think that adds up. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 doesn't equal 3.9. And that's what Daniel Levy's selling. It's 3.9, not 4. So that's my issues with it as a whole. Look, on Romero, Romero is taking the same route as Harry Kane did. I will stay. I'm happy to stay. But what I want you to do, and he has verbally said it this season, we should be competing for every single trophy because financially we can, but financially we choose not to. And Romero's saying, just turn the switch up a little bit. He's not asking Daniel Levy to spend £500 million a summer. He's not asking that at all. He's asking you just to push the boat out just that little bit and bring in some players that are ready to go right this second, as well as the youth. That's what the competent teams do. They bring in the youth as well as buying the ready to go now. So that means you have quality seniors. They will help develop those youngsters, right? That's what we should want. That's what we should want, which we don't get, obviously. And Romero's saying, I'm happy to stay. I want to stay. Harry Kane said, I want to stay. I have no issues with staying. I just want you to put it out there that we're ready to back up. Let's do this. If you're not willing to do that, move me. And Harry Kane literally said, I'm not signing a new contract until you can show me that you're serious about winning. And then Daniel Levy sold him. It was like, okay, so we're not serious about winning. We're not. That was it. We're not serious about winning if we're going to sell the best player that we've had in however many decades. The world's best striker. That is the world's best striker. Okay. The fact that his PR team don't work overdrive like Salah's, like Rafinha's, like Vinicius Juniors and Mbappe's and Rafinha's. I'm sorry, he's having a better season than all of those players in my eyes. If you look at his stats, they are bonkers. And if he wins the Bundesliga and he wins the Champions League, just pick up the Ballon d'Or, take it to Munich and go, there you go, Harry. There's your Ballon d'Or. There's no way in God's green earth Mbappe's as a better striker than Harry Kane. That's my general opinion. Obviously, you might be a FIFA warrior and you just love speed. Oh, look, Mbappe can run really quick. I'll take the guy that's the better complete footballer, who can score goals like anyone, who can do any type of goal that you want, but also create any football and any chance that you want him to create. I'll take that footballer personally. The more complete footballer. That's why I always said Haaland is a fantastic striker. And I always said, to be nice to people, Harry Kane, at worst, is the second best striker in the world. It's night and day now. Absolutely night and day now that Harry Kane's miles ahead of Erling Haaland. So we had that. We had that at Spurs. We had the world's best striker, one of the top 5 best players in the world, right? According to the Ballon d'Or rating this year. And we've got a centre-back, right? And I know maybe Christian Romero is not everyone's cup of tea, but just look at the facts. He's won a World Cup as a World Cup winning centre-back, and you get people go, well, it's all Messi. It was like, well, it's not all Messi, is it? Shut up. Messi's not playing 11 positions. He's not playing 11 on one, is he? Messi for a long time when he was actually a better player, and he had, the Agueros and Tevez and Lavetsis and Pastors and, had so many great attackers. Higuain had Mascherano at the back, and that was about it. And look, they couldn't do anything because they defensively weren't good enough. Now, defensively, they have options. They have Molina, they have Romero. And it in turn allows the attack to be better because they don't have to go, Jesus, anytime anyone attacks, we're screwed. So that means they're not putting pressure on the fact they need to score every attack. They can win games 1-0 now, and Messi can create something or score a free kick. And he's also won 2 Copa Americas, Romero, as the starting centre-back. If you're a starting centre-back that wins a big international trophy, that is big. That I cannot stress enough. That is massive. I think he's a fantastic defender. We are a better team when he's playing. Look at last weekend alone. Away at Fulham, for 68 minutes, defensively sound. He was brilliant. He won set pieces in terms of corners are coming in. You just see Romero's bullet train towards the ball to clear it. Picking passes through the midfield. Ben Davies looked pretty solid next to him. He goes off, we fell apart. So if you can't see why Cristiano Romero is a phenomenal defender, I can't say anything else to you. I'll be telling you, that's a grey wall, and that's a white shirt, and that is a navy shirt, and that says Bale, and that says Brady, and you'd go, no, it doesn't. That says Brady, and that says Bale, and you're like, well, no, it doesn't. Oh yeah, your wall, that's actually green. You're like, well, it's not. It's clear to see Romero is fantastic. He's a massive reason why we have any form of success. And when he and Mickey are playing centre back, we are so much better. And I fancy us. I don't care what you think about Ange. Even just stepping aside from Ange for a second, when those two guys are at centre back, I will fancy us against pretty much every team above us. I would fancy us against Liverpool. Doesn't mean I think we'll win. I fancy us to be competitive. I'd fancy us against Brightons and Villas, Bournemouths and Fulhams and Palaces. Not the building palaces, just Crystal Palace. Forest, all that. I'd fancy us. And hopefully we get through this international break. Everyone's all good. Everyone's all gravy. Richie's going to be back, and Danso's Big Kev. Big Kev's going to be back. Jed's going to have a couple of weeks of rest, which will be nice. Maybe some players who are out of form are going on to international break, maybe pick up a bit of form on international break. But we come back healthy. We've got Chelsea, and then we've got Southampton, and then we've got Frankfurt. Okay, let's say you even lose to Chelsea, but you lose like 3-2, or you lose 2-1, and it's, a competitive game. It's just one of those things. It's not been great. But then you deal with Southampton, 3-0 Southampton. You deal with them. Then you go to Frankfurt, and you've got a fit Cristiano Romero, a fit Mickey van der Ven. Slanky's had a bit of rest. You've got some options. A fully fit Spurs side should still win this Europa League. That's my views. We just need to get there, okay? Will we get there? I mean, evidence will tell you no. That would be my other issue. So we'll sort of see. Romero's won a World Cup. Daniel Levy holds the title for the highest paid CEO with 1 trophy in 21 years. Romero should hold all of the sway over Levy. I mean, look, you've got to think. Kulusevski said things. Son said things. Maddison said things. Romero said things. They've all said things about the club. They've all publicly backed Ange, but they've also said it about the club. The club should be doing more to help these players. That's alarming. Whether you think Ange in or Ange out, I don't care. That's alarming. I worry that if our young players like Gray and Bergvall do become the diamonds we think they are, they might not sign a new deal for the reason Romero won't. And that's why players are being given 6 or 7 year contracts. FIFA World Cup was a setup. Argentina had the most penalties. They had played a lot of shootouts. And if you win penalties, it probably means you provided a big attacking threat. Romero is a winner's winner. He wants to win and wants to go to a big team because they have a better chance to win. You can't blame him. I don't blame him. I mean, it's Real Madrid we're talking about. We're not talking about like Espanyol. We're not talking about Union Berlin. We're not talking about Montpellier. We're talking about Real Madrid's. It's the greatest club in world football. They win things every single year. You're playing in Madrid. You're gonna, and they, by the way, they pay money on wages. I mean, David Alaba gets like 400 grand a week or something ridiculous. David Alaba having all those injury issues. Even David Alaba leaving Bayern Munich at that point was not as good as Christian Romero. So I can see why Romero's looking at it going, if I end up at Real Madrid, I'm going to be earning like 350 grand a week. I'm on 150 grand now. That is life-changing money for not just my generation and my kids' generation. It's the generation and the generation and the generation. It is generational wealth. Even 150 grand a week will change lives, but 350 grand a week is just ridiculous, you know? And plus, you know, it's more of your native tongue as well. And I get that, you know. Players would have completed their fasting by then, so energy levels for Sarr and Spence will go up. There you go. I also think PSG are now a better team without Kylian. I think so as well. But there you go. There you go. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I'm going to be doing some things to make this look a little bit better. I've got a sign to go up. My brother bought me a sign. So next live, you will see that. It's going to look pretty damn cool. Keep an eye on for that. But thanks for joining me this afternoon, but morning before. Go and enjoy the rest of your mornings, afternoons, evenings, wherever in the world. Look after yourselves. And I'll speak to you all soon to talk a little bit more about Spurs. Take care, everyone. Peace.